Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am very honored today to have Isabel from Glowmoon Dolls with me.
Hello.
And I am going to interview her, so I'm very, very excited about this. Isabel, thank you so much for agreeing to this.
Oh my gosh.
Now, the first question I'm going to ask you is the same question I ask everybody. Who was your favorite doll as a child?
Is it terrible if I have two answers to this? Because I thought about this.
10 answers.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like we all probably have 10 answers. But so my first doll ever, and I have a picture of it, me opening my very first Felicity from American Girl. So
a girl from our own heart.
Yeah. And then of course I had Addie right after, and I have pictures of me like in the Addie outfit, holding my fingers in the perfect pose, like obsessed with my American Girl dolls, read all the books, but then I realized I had to talk about, because your doll actually in particular, the one here, I packed her up for this convention and I had this like flash of, she reminded me of a very specific thing that I used to collect and still collect from eBay sometimes and find them at estate sales, the 1998 Playline Madame Alexander Little Women set. I was like totally obsessed with them.
Yes, I remember that set.
Yeah, and I have a bunch of them that I've collected over the years that I just kind of find here and there. And they're the 16-inch Little Women dolls, and they had beautiful clothes. But Beth had these beautiful kind of almost purpley eyes and this kind of blue-black hair and these pretty eyelashes. And I packed her up, and she gave me this look from the case, and I thought, oh my gosh, it's Beth. It's like a little Beth moment. So anyway, I was kind of reminded of that and thinking about her.
That's really cool how like inspiration comes, like you don't even realize where the inspiration is like buried down inside somewhere.
Just unconscious.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so.
That's amazing. So tell me from there, how did you evolve into a doll artist? Like tell us about your art journey and everything you went through to get to where you are today.
Oh man. I think kind of also like a lot of us, we can't help ourselves. Right. Like we just always come back to it. So that's definitely been the case. I collected Barbies well into my teens and Monster High and all of those, and just couldn't kind of stop myself in the toy aisle. But then I went to school and I was an art major and I was kind of like a serious artist, which is great. But then I went back to grad school for game design and I ended up doing 3D printing, and I ended up doing a doll for my thesis because again, I can't help myself.
Cool. Yeah.
So it was like there was nothing in my program that supported it. I was sort of like off in my own world, and then I ended up sculpting professionally for a toy company, and so I did that for years.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so when I was doing my toy sculpting, I was working at Funko. I sculpted Pops a lot of the time, or like rock candy was my favorite. And it was a blast, but we had these pitches, these doll pitches, and we had these meetings, and I would like work on these pitches for weeks and put my whole like heart into them, and they wouldn't happen. They would never like make it. And so it was making me kind of like too weighed down, too sad. And so I started my own doll kind of on the side, and kind of as a way to kind of get that energy out and like kind of be a satisfying doll project.
Like to see it to fruition.
Yeah,
like not
exactly.
just dream it up, but actually see the finished product.
And that's kind of when I found ball jointed dolls, because as an artist making individual, artist dolls, and I had the sculpting capabilities and the 3D printing, so I knew I could prototype, but that's when I kind of discovered the BJD world, and that's when I started doing that. So that was my kind of foray into that.
We're glad that you came into it. So tell me about the very first doll that you sculpted.
Bodhi was my first one. She was a 1/4 scale kind of curvy doll, and at the time I was looking at the BJD community, and it was so influenced by the Asian ball jointed doll look, and I sculpted her specifically to really look like Pixar American sort of style, like Tangled. So I was looking at a lot of American 3D art, and coming out of Funko too, there's so many incredible artists that I was working with, and so I was kind of really influenced by our work and other things I was seeing from American artists, and that's why she kind of looks so different, or she did at the time. Like she looked pretty different, and But the influence was really trying to come from a very American perspective.
She's a really, I'll put a picture over here. She's a really beautiful, really cool, really unique doll.
Yeah, she's got big eyes and a little button nose.
Really amazing.
Thank you.
So tell us about the two dolls that we have here on the table.
Yeah, I will start with her because so I have Mustard Seed and Peace Blossom, and they're sisters. They, two of the four, so there's going to hopefully eventually be the four fairies from Midsummer Night's Dream. It's Mustard Seed, Peace Blossom, Cobweb, and Moth, but the first two have come out, and so they have the same body, and so that's her. And then I have Mari, who's my 1/4 scale curvy doll, sort of replaced Bodhi in my lineup because, yeah, Bodhi I sort of retired, and then I was like, well, I kind of still love the curvy 1/4 scale, so that's how she happened.
Yeah, I love it so much. This doll I adopted immediately in the sales room. I was really excited to get one of her 1/4 scale dolls. I have a Mustard Seed at home, and so it was really nice to add her to my collection. So you also have a vinyl doll. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that definitely is, like, my experience at work really helped me with that because I had a lot of experience with, at the corporate level, I was working on these things that were getting manufactured, but I was approached I do freelance action figures and stuff, and I do them mostly and these figurines and things with this gallery in New York called Bottleneck, and I do a lot of, like, their little figures and stuff over the years, and they were amazing. They came to me at one point several years ago and said, we'll help you make a vinyl doll because it's really cost prohibitive for artists.
That's what I've always heard, is that the barrier to entry for making a vinyl doll is so high. So I was really interested to hear about that from your perspective.
It was a complicated situation, and that's what I tell people when they ask me. Like, I get people reaching out often on Instagram saying, hey, I've always wanted to do this. And it was a lifelong dream of mine too. So having those factory contacts was essential. So they had these factory contacts already and factories that they worked with, and they also, like, helped hugely with the finance component. And we were just like, okay, let's do this kind of crazy thing.
Wow.
And they told me to just do whatever I wanted. And
that's
to be
nice.
honest, it was really overwhelming.
Oh, really?
And so I was like, it was like awesome, but it was also
it was like a lot of pressure too, I guess.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there's so much I would do differently, which is like, because it took about 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Between sculpting and all that stuff. And the other thing about it is going from a corporate, like, Funko job, where I was a sculptor, to going to suddenly I'm doing every single thing. Like,
right.
And I did get some help. I had a friend from Funko who did help me with my packaging, and then I had somebody else do an illustration that it was, like, really fun to work with them on, like, a very small scale and on my own work and be kind of the project director. Like, I had to kind of be the art director and have all the, like, make all these decisions, and which really pushed me. I mean, and then you're talking to the factory and you're getting all these images, and you have to go, hey, you got to move the eyebrows. Like, they really didn't want her to be grumpy. They kept moving her eyebrows out so she looked nicer, and I was like, no, you got to, like, get them in there and make her kind of, like,
that's her personality.
Yeah, she's kind of a grump, like, she's kind of like a Billie Eilish type. And, I just wanted to make a teen doll that was sort of like grumpy teen Billie Eilish style witch girl. So that's how she came about. It was definitely a journey, and it still continues to be. But
that's really cool to hear about.
Yeah.
Of the dolls you've made, which one do you have a favorite? Or which one maybe are you most proud of?
Oh my gosh, I don't know why that's suddenly.
I guess that's like asking which child is your favorite, but I have to ask it.
Important. Yeah, no, it's a good question because. And it's making me think, because for some reason I haven't thought about that in a while. I have favorites, like when I love this one. Actually, honestly, when she kind of snapped together, I was like, oh, I love her. Like, and so when I put them together as individuals, it's really fun. And Mari was a real labor of love. Like, I took about 2 years of sculpting her, and I redid her legs like 5 times. And,
oh, wow.
I mean, sometimes my mom was like, just do it, just get her out. And I was like, no, I'm going to tweak this one thing again. And so she really was like this labor of love again. Like, I mean, all dolls kind of are, but so I'm really pretty proud of how she came out, and I'm pleased. But of course, I'm already thinking, like, what would I do differently the next time?
I hear that from a lot of artists. Like, they know that there's always one little thing they want to tweak the next time, and one little thing the next time. So.
I'm trying to just chill with
Yeah.
one for a little while, because, you know, I've noticed that people, like other artists who have the same sculpt they work with for a while, you can really develop your voice and with that doll, and they each have kind of their own look and personality that sort of comes out slowly as you make the individual like sets and stuff. I've found that it's kind of interesting how that works.
Yeah.
But I'll always have a lot of fondness for Bodhi. She's the original, and she kind of, you know,
Kind of started this journey.
kind of started
for you,
the
I
journey
guess.
for me.
Yeah.
So, and I met a lot of amazing people for the first time through that doll. I mean, customers that I had from the very, very beginning are still important to me. They still email me, or they still message me, or a couple of them bought Mari, and like it's a huge. It gives me shivers. It's like that
Right.
really is an amazing feeling. So yeah, Bodhi's kind of. I kind of gave a special Bodhi discount for the Mari pre-order, because it was like people who bought that doll. It's like they really
they've
were
been,
there for the beginning.
They were there to help you launch. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's really cool. What do you see for the future for your dolls and your doll making?
Oh man, I've been thinking a lot about that this year, to be honest. And like I've been inspired actually at this show. I've had a couple of conversations with Jacob and Bria about from Le Petit Mont and Blank Space Dolls. And one of the common themes between both those conversations that I had with them is like they are really going for like a world that they're creating and sort of kind of creating a whole thing, a holistic
Like a universe.
and
right.
I think that's kind of what I'm feeling is the right next step, is like kind of just pushing myself to be more consistent with kind of creating a world and a vibe and a I want to make more backgrounds and do better photography. So a couple of things like that. I want to push myself this year, and who knows what that's going to look like. I hope it works, but yeah.
Well, I, for one, really love your dolls. Tell us how people can purchase your dolls, where they can follow you, where they can learn more information.
Yeah, my Instagram is usually the easiest. It's at I am Ibo, which Ibo is what I called myself when I was a little baby, because I couldn't pronounce Isabel. So it's my really old Instagram that I started like in high school or something.
I think that's such a sweet story for your. And you know, sometimes I actually, when I'm talking about your work, I always call you I am Ibo.
Yeah,
I refer to you a lot by your Instagram name.
Yeah, well, I called myself Ibo as a kid, and that's where that comes from. So. Yeah, it's really easy, that's usually where I'm on Instagram all the time. My email is on my website. It's isabelandersondolls@gmail.com. That's kind of like also where I don't get all my main email. I feel like I got so jammed up, and so I've created a special email.
One just for...
Yeah, so I get, I'll usually get those emails pretty timely manner. I have my website where I have certain dolls listed, yeah, so.
Do you have any upcoming pre-orders or like in-stock dolls available in case people see this and want to rush out and get one?
Right now, I'm only planning on listing like the show dolls maybe that are full sets. Mari, I'm not doing in stock, and so it's it's been kind of a shift for me. I've done in stock for a long time, and I have some Peace Blossoms left, but I'm sort of shifting to be like kind of trying to make kind of these art pieces,
like do one of a kind, like art pieces,
yeah, as opposed to selling blanks. But excuse me, I don't know. People reach out. Sometimes I bring blanks to shows and do stuff like that.
I like one of a kind, so I like that. That's my style of collecting. Is I like to collect a one of a kind art piece. So,
and for me, like the joy comes from
completing
making these like pieces. So I've sort of really been shifting towards like making each doll really special and. Kind of having my voice showing, like kind of shining through, I guess, even though I love seeing the interpretations of
what
everyone who's bought my
yeah.
dolls and what they do. People have done some incredible things that like blow my mind. So, it'll be interesting to see how that changes Mari for me. But yeah, right now that's kind of the deal.
Now, do you collect any dolls otherwise from other makers or other lines?
Yes, my favorite, so I did end up getting secondhand. I got an enchanted resin doll.
Oh, wow.
She's like my prize
Wow.
possession, and she's so little. Like when I got her, she's the most expensive doll I have, and she's so little. And
Is she small? I've never seen one in person.
She's like so tiny, but
wow.
she's so precious. There's something really, I kind of bought her, and then I was like, what did I do? I don't know. And then I got her, and I there's something really magical about her work, and she's also kind of the original and you know, enchanted doll, and so it feels really important to have one of her pieces. But I got a blank one, and so I painted her myself, and I have a little dress on her, and so she sits with me. And then I have dolls from a bunch of people over the years, but Josh from Pigeon Doll is kind of, I met him really early in my doll making journey, and he's been a really amazing mentor for me. So I have a few pigeons, but I have the unibrow like Frida doll that he did several years ago. He made her, I saw her, and I was like, I don't care what she costs, I gotta have her. And she still is next to me at my desk every day. And
so it's funny that you mentioned him, because we both really love him. He's one of the first artists that granted me an interview with him on YouTube.
Gosh.
He's one of the very first ones that
sweet.
Agreed to sit down with me, and it was kind of funny because he actually helped me set up the interview, because I didn't have any experience with that sort of thing. He's like, we should do a table here, and we should have some dolls out, and we should sit like this.
Oh my God.
And so he mentored me in a way too, like,
so
you know,
cool.
It's like, let's make this look more professional.
Yes. Well, he is the consummate
but he's
professional.
so kind. He's so kind.
He's so
and
kind.
He's so
nice.
generous. So we have that in common, that he's been very helpful. That was very
really
helpful
cool.
for me, like when we started doing this.
Yeah.
So.
He's been so generous with me with his time and his knowledge, and I was texting him the other day, like, you know, I just am so also like impressed and proud of him for like what he's done. I mean,
he's
huge, and I mean, but he works so hard. Sometimes I look at what he's doing, and I'm like, I don't know if I would ever want to be at that level.
Kind of pressure.
It's so much work. But.
Well, I just remember he told the story about he had to get they wanted the 2 dolls for the music video, and he had to get them to I think it was like the next day or 48 hours or something. Like. And he did it. Yeah. Like, that's incredible.
Oh, gosh. I loved the progress. I was, like, texting him during that, too, a little bit. And, I love those dolls that he came up with.
That's cool that we both have that. We have that in common.
He's a kind and generous soul. I mean, we're lucky to have him in the doll community.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly.
I'm wearing my Josh earrings.
The
marionette.
Oh, yes.
The Devil and Angel, yeah.
Oh, yes.
I'm obsessed with them. And I also have his purse.
The purse. I love the little purse. Yes. That's so cute.
Got it for my mom, too. She loves it. So.
Is there anything else that you want us to know or want the collectors to know that I haven't asked you here today?
I don't know. You asked really pretty thorough questions. I'm glad we talked about Joshua, because he has been a game changer for me. I mean, he helped me in the very beginning with my sculpting. I would send him things, and he'd say, "Hey, this joint isn't really going to work," and I was like, "Okay." So, and now joints are kind of one of my passions. So, and then I got to help him a little bit, not really, but with his Divine sculpt and his Amanda Lepore sculpt.
Cool.
So I have a Divine that I'm going to put in my studio. She's like my little patron saint. I don't know. I just love dolls. So
I think people don't appreciate too. You say like joints are your thing. Like people don't appreciate the amount of engineering. It's not just artistic. There's engineering that goes into making a doll that you can. That has all these amazing joints. And
I work really, really hard on the joints. It's one of my favorite things to do.
That's cool.
I mean, at Funko, one of the other things I did is I articulated, like, I stopped counting after 200 action figures. But so you kind of, but one of the things that I forgot to mention this when I made Bodhi is like, I got to really go for some of these crazy joints because it's a ball jointed, like elastic system, and I was doing all these action figures that are like kind of a mechanical joint. And so I wanted to experiment with kind of pushing that boundary. And so with Mari, that's what I really, really worked hard on. And there's some things that I would change maybe if I did a doll in the future that are sort of like a little tricky. But like I did this like swivel joint in her forearm because I really wanted to get it when you have her hands and you use her wrist, like you have this kind of flat part of the inner wrist that kind of looks like real human arms, you know, and when you twist your arm, these bones are actually still connected to the wrist. So there's a twist in her forearm so that you can keep that flat part.
That's so cool.
Consistent.
To keep it more real.
Yeah. So I really had fun doing stuff like that. But yeah,
I haven't really actually played with her yet, so I'm excited to like actually play with her and look at her mechanics and stuff like that.
Yeah,
because she's gorgeous.
You can always email me like, hey,
hey, how do I do this?
Yeah.
No, but it's fun to do that. But you were showing me even in the sales room like how she designed the feet so that they would be more like sturdy. Sturdy's not the word, but like so they wouldn't fall off, because sometimes magnetic feet fall off kind of easily. But she made like a.
This is like a little bit of a flaw, but
I don't think it's a flaw.
But it's really nice because they don't like flop off.
The feet don't fall, but they're magnetic, so you can still like remove them.
So they'll get a little looser
secure.
with a little bit of time. She's only had her feet removed like a couple of times. It gets a little easier, but one of the things I did, and it was sort of an accident at first, is the shaft of the wrists and the feet are like a tiny bit long, and then I didn't taper them, which is like a beginner's mistake because the physics, it's like it kind of sucks it in if you don't have a taper. And I made a little mistake, but when I got the prototypes and they were so solid on there, and I realized that you weren't going to have hands and feet flying all over the place, I actually kept it like that on purpose.
Yeah,
but it is a little terrifying. I've had a couple customers go, hey, I'm like really scared to take the feet off, and I'm like, okay, no, just
she's a little
it's a little stiff at first, but then she loosens up. But,
I like that because that's one of the things it's easy to lose.
So easy
magnetic
to lose.
hands and feet, like when they're not secured on the doll. So I think that's
well, thank you.
I think that's a feature.
Thank you.
Personally,
it was kind of like a happy accident that I kept, but in retrospect, I wish I'd included a little note in the pre-order or something. A little note when I sent out the dolls, like, hey, it's a little tricky at first. Don't worry.
Don't panic. It's supposed to be that way. So.
But yeah.
Well, Isabel, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. Guys, I will link all of her information below so that you can follow her and follow along when dolls are available and check out her website and stuff like that. And so
thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for agreeing to do it. So everybody, we will see you in the next one. Bye.
I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons from Patreon: Lindsay S., Leah W., Doreen Z., Janice H., Mercedes W., Bear Sunflower, Diane B., Shorna R., Stephanie W., Shalane C., Louisa's Knickknacks, Marty G., Lynn P., Cindy L., and Sabrina A. Your support helps me continue making great dolly content. For more information on how you can become a supporter of this channel, please see the link in the video description. Thank you.